Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to this English learning podcast. My name is Emma, and I am very happy to spend this time with you today. This podcast is made for people who want to practice English in a slow and simple way. I will speak clearly and gently so you can listen carefully and understand step by step. Think of me as a friend sitting with you and telling you a story. You do not need to worry about grammar or difficult rules. Just relax, listen, and enjoy. Today, I want to share something simple with you. I will tell you about one of my days. It was a quiet Saturday, nothing too busy, but still, it had small moments that I want to share with you. Sometimes, the most normal days can feel special when we pay attention to them. So let me tell you what happened in my day. On weekdays, from Monday to Friday, I usually wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I do this because I have work and other things to do. But today was Saturday, and I wanted to rest more, so I stayed in bed until almost 9 o'clock. I was not sleeping that whole time. I was just lying on my back, looking at the ceiling, and enjoying the silence. The house was quiet, the street outside was calm, and I could feel that it was the weekend. I did not want to rush. But then I felt a little pain in my mouth. My wisdom tooth was hurting again. Maybe you know about wisdom teeth. They are the big teeth that grow at the very back of your mouth, usually when you are in your 20s. The name sounds very smart, wisdom tooth, but when it hurts, it does not feel smart at all. It just feels uncomfortable. My pain was not so strong that I wanted to cry, but it was strong enough to make me feel annoyed. Because of that pain, I had already made an appointment with my dentist later in the morning. Now, I am not really afraid of dentists, but I do not love going to them either. Sometimes it feels strange when they ask questions while your mouth is open and you cannot answer properly. Maybe you also know that feeling. Still, I knew I had to go today because the pain was not going away by itself. After lying in bed for some more minutes, I finally got up. I walked slowly to the bathroom. My head still felt heavy, like I was not fully awake. There is a nice word for this feeling. Foggy. Foggy means not clear. Imagine when you go outside in the morning and there is white mist everywhere. You cannot see far because of the fog. When our mind feels foggy, it means our thoughts are slow and not sharp yet. That was exactly how I felt when I stood in the bathroom. I brushed my teeth carefully because I did not want to hurt the sore tooth. Then I washed my face with cold water. The cold water helped me wake up more. I decided not to take a shower yet. Sometimes I like to wait and shower later in the day after appointments. So instead, I put on a big, soft t-shirt and some comfortable pants. I wanted to feel cozy, not fancy. Then I went into the kitchen. The first thing I always want in the morning is tea. Today, I made myself a big cup of ginger tea. When you make tea, you have to wait a little. The tea bag or tea leaves must sit in the hot water. This process is called steeping. Steeping means letting the tea stay in hot water so the flavor comes out slowly. You can imagine the tea is like a person enjoying a warm bath. While my tea was steeping, I stood near the window and looked outside. The world outside also felt slow, like it was resting on this weekend morning. I saw a cat sitting quietly on the wall. I saw two small birds flying around in circles. I saw a man watering his plants carefully, one by one. Everything looked calm. Because of my tooth pain, I knew I could not eat anything hard or crunchy. So for breakfast, I made a bowl of warm oatmeal. I cooked the oats with milk and added a little honey for sweetness. Then I cut a banana into soft slices and put them on top. It was a very simple breakfast, but it was soft, warm, and gentle, exactly what I needed. I sat down at the table with my tea and oatmeal. I ate very slowly, one spoon at a time. I did not use my phone. I did not turn on the TV. I just ate in silence, enjoying the warm taste of my food. It felt peaceful. After I finished breakfast, I washed my bowl, filled my cup with more tea, and sat for a while longer. I was not in a hurry because my dentist appointment was at 11:30, and the clinic was only about a 15-minute walk from my home. At around 11 o'clock, I started getting ready. I tied my hair back, put on a loose hoodie and jeans, and slipped on my shoes. I did not dress up because comfort was more important today. When I stepped outside, the weather felt perfect. It was not too hot, not too cold. It was the kind of weather that makes you feel the day is friendly to you. As I walked down the street, I passed a small grocery shop where I often buy fruits and vegetables. The man who works there is always kind. Sometimes he even saves the ripest bananas for me. Today, I waved at him and he smiled back. The street was quiet. A few people walked slowly. In the distance, I could hear a dog barking. The soft wind touched my face and I felt calm. I reached the dentist's clinic a little early, so I sat outside for a few minutes. My stomach had that small, nervous feeling. It was not real fear, just that little worry we all feel before going to the dentist. I took a deep breath and looked at the green plants in the small garden near the entrance. Then I went inside. The waiting room was very quiet, maybe too quiet. I sat down on a plastic chair. The chair was a little cold and not very comfortable, but it was okay. On the table in front of me, there was an old magazine. In one corner of the room, there was a small fish tank. The fish moved slowly, and I watched them swim. I was not reading, not thinking much, just sitting there quietly. After some minutes, the nurse called my name. I stood up, took another deep breath, and followed her inside. The dentist gave me a small smile and asked, "Is your tooth still hurting?" I nodded and said softly, "Yes, the lower right side." He checked my wisdom tooth by tapping gently in different places and asking if it hurt. Yes, it did hurt, but not in a very scary way. The dentist said, "It looks like the tooth is pushing through. There is some swelling." The word swelling means when part of your body becomes bigger and sore. The dentist also used another word, inflammation. Inflammation means when your gums or another part of your body feels red, sore, or puffy. He told me it was nothing serious. I did not need surgery. I only needed to rest, eat soft food, and rinse my mouth with warm salt water. When I heard this, I felt very relieved. Do you know that feeling when something is not perfect, but at least it is not dangerous? That was how I felt. I paid at the front desk, thanked the staff politely, and stepped outside. The sun felt a little warmer now, and the soft wind touched my face in a gentle way. I started walking back home. I was not in a rush. I just moved slowly, enjoying the walk. On the way, I passed a small park. I decided to stop and sit on a wooden bench for a few minutes. It felt good to rest outside. In the park, I saw two small children running and laughing. They were playing with paper airplanes, throwing them high in the air and chasing them. Their laughter made me smile. A woman was sitting on the grass with her dog, talking to it like it was her little child. I thought that was sweet. I took a sip of water from the bottle in my bag and just sat there, watching life around me. It felt calm, almost like time was moving slower than usual. After a little while, I continued walking home. When I reached my house, I took a warm shower. Not too hot, not too cold, just the right temperature to make me feel clean and fresh again. After the shower, I put on my favorite old t-shirt. It has a few tiny holes, but it is soft and full of memories. It always makes me feel comfortable. I made another cup of tea, but this time it was chamomile tea. Chamomile tea is a soft tea that helps the body relax. Some people say chamomile and some say chamomile. Both ways are correct. I sat down on the couch with a blanket, holding the warm cup in my hands. I took slow sips and let the calm feeling spread through my body. Then I lay down on the couch, still covered with the blanket. At first, I just looked at the ceiling quietly. I was not planning anything. I was not thinking about work or about the dentist anymore. I was just resting. Without even realizing it, I slowly drifted off to sleep. Drifted off means falling asleep gently without planning it. It is like when a boat slowly moves away on the water. That is how I fell asleep, softly and quietly. I think I slept for about 30 minutes. When I woke up, I felt fresh and lighter. My body was calm, and my mind felt clear, like I had pressed a reset button. Sometimes short naps like that can really change the way you feel. The afternoon was very peaceful. I decided to spend some time reading. I picked up a simple book in English and read slowly. I like reading in English because it helps me learn new words, and at the same time, it feels relaxing. Whenever I found a word I did not know, I underlined it and tried to guess the meaning from the sentence. Then later, I looked it up in the dictionary. Reading slowly like this is not only good practice, but also enjoyable. After reading for about an hour, I felt a little hungry. Because of my tooth, I still needed to eat something soft, so I made a bowl of vegetable soup. I cut some carrots, potatoes, and a little pumpkin into small pieces, boiled them until they were soft, and then blended them into a creamy soup. I added a little salt and pepper for taste. The soup was warm and smooth, and it felt good on my sore tooth. I ate it slowly, one spoon at a time, while listening to some soft music in the background. When I finished my soup, I cleaned the kitchen and then sat near the window again. Outside, I could see the sun slowly moving down. The light was softer now, golden and warm. The sky had some pink and orange colors. Birds were flying back to their nests. A few people were walking home from the market with bags in their hands. I enjoyed just sitting there and watching the evening arrive. Later, I decided to write in my journal. I like to keep a simple notebook where I write about my day. I do not write anything complicated, just small notes like what I did, how I felt, or what I learned. Writing in a journal helps me remember the small moments, and it also makes me feel thankful for the little things. Today, I wrote about my dentist visit, the walk in the park, the children with paper airplanes, and my afternoon nap. Writing about these moments made me smile because they were simple, but they made the day feel special. After writing, I spent a little time practicing English. I listened to an English podcast and I repeated some sentences out loud. Repeating helps me improve my pronunciation. I also tried to copy the rhythm of the speaker. Even if I did not understand every single word, I still felt happy because I was practicing. The evening became darker, and I turned on the small lamp beside my couch. I made one more cup of tea, this time with lemon and honey, because I thought it would be soothing for my throat and also gentle for my tooth. I drank it slowly while looking through some old photos on my phone. Sometimes looking at old pictures brings back nice memories, and it makes me feel connected to the people I love. At around 8 o'clock, I decided to have dinner. I kept it light and soft again. I made some scrambled eggs and mashed potatoes. It was simple, but it was enough. I sat at the table with my food, feeling thankful that I had something warm to eat. After dinner, I cleaned the dishes and went back to the couch with my blanket. I turned on a movie, but I did not really watch it with full attention. It was just playing in the background while I relaxed. Sometimes I like having quiet sound in the room so it does not feel too empty. After about an hour, I turned it off because my eyes started to feel heavy. Before going to bed, I brushed my teeth carefully again, washed my face, and put on my pajamas. I wrote one last note in my journal, something small like, "Today was not perfect, but it was peaceful. I am thankful for the calm moments." Writing this before bed made me feel calm and ready to sleep. I lay down in bed, pulled the blanket up to my chin, and closed my eyes. My tooth still had a little pain, but it was less than before. The dentist's words made me feel safe, so I was not worried anymore. I listened to the soft night sounds outside, like a distant car passing, and the wind moving through the trees. Slowly, I drifted off to sleep again, this time for the whole night. When I woke up the next morning, the sun was shining softly through my window. I stretched my arms slowly and took a deep breath. My tooth was still a little sore, but it was not as bad as the day before. I felt thankful for that. Sometimes small improvements already make you feel better inside. I stayed in bed for a few minutes, just enjoying the warm blanket. I thought about the day before, and I realized how even a quiet day can be full of small lessons. It reminded me that life does not always have to be busy or exciting to feel meaningful. Sometimes peace and calm are just as important. I finally got up and went to the kitchen to make breakfast. This time, I was able to eat a little more than the day before. I toasted some soft bread and spread butter on it. I also boiled an egg and had it with a little salt. And of course, I made myself a big cup of tea. Sitting with my breakfast, I thought about how thankful I was that I could eat a bit better. After breakfast, I opened the window wide to let the fresh air come in. The street outside was waking up. I could hear people walking, children laughing, and shopkeepers opening their stores. The world felt alive again. I smiled because even these simple sounds made me feel connected to others. I decided to go for a short walk in the park near my home. Walking always helps me think clearly. The air was fresh and the trees were green. I saw an older man walking slowly with his stick. I saw a young couple jogging together. I saw a group of teenagers sitting on the grass, laughing loudly. Everyone was enjoying the morning in their own way. I sat on a bench for a while and watched. While sitting there, I thought about how learning English is a little like walking in the park. Some people move fast, some move slowly, but everyone is moving forward. What matters is not the speed, but the fact that you keep going. I wanted to share this thought with you because maybe sometimes you feel you are learning too slowly. But remember, even small steps take you closer to your goal. After my walk, I went back home and decided to clean my room. I opened the windows, folded my clothes, and organized my desk. Cleaning always makes me feel better. It is like cleaning the mind as well as the room. When I finished, the space felt lighter and brighter. Later, I sat at my desk with my notebook. I wanted to practice English writing again. This time, I wrote a short paragraph about the park and the people I saw there. I wrote slowly, checking my spelling, and then I read it aloud to practice my speaking too. Reading what I wrote made me feel proud, even if it was simple. Every small effort counts. By afternoon, I was hungry again. I made another soft meal, this time pasta with a little olive oil and cheese. It was gentle enough for my tooth, but it was also tasty and filling. I ate it slowly while watching the sunlight coming in through the window. I thought about how food, even simple food, can bring comfort and joy. After lunch, I rested on the couch again. I listened to some calm music and closed my eyes. I did not fall asleep this time, but I just relaxed and let my mind rest. Sometimes we think resting is wasting time, but it is not. Rest gives us energy for the next things we need to do. In the evening, I decided to call a friend. We talked for about half an hour. She asked me about my dentist visit, and I told her everything. We laughed about how strange it feels when dentists ask you questions while your mouth is open. Talking to her made me feel lighter. Friends are important because they share both our happy and difficult moments. When the sun started to go down, I stepped outside again to buy some fruit from the small grocery shop. The man at the shop smiled at me and gave me some very sweet bananas. I also bought a few apples and oranges. Carrying the bag home, I thought about how lucky I was to live in a place where fresh fruit was easy to find. Dinner was simple again, just rice and some soft vegetables. I ate slowly and thought about my day. I realized that even though nothing big had happened, I felt happy. Sometimes happiness hides in small things, like a warm meal, a good talk with a friend, or a short walk in the park. After dinner, I wrote in my journal again. I wrote about the park, about cleaning my room, about my pasta lunch, and about the smile from the fruit seller. I also wrote one small line to remind myself, peaceful days are also beautiful. Writing this made me feel calm and thankful. Before bed, I read a few more pages from my English book. The story was simple, but I enjoyed following the characters. I underlined a few new words again. I whispered them out loud several times, trying to remember their sound. Learning words like this feels like adding small bricks to a wall. Slowly, the wall grows stronger. Finally, I brushed my teeth carefully, washed my face, and got into bed. I pulled the blanket over me and closed my eyes. The street outside was quiet. Only the soft sound of the wind moved through the night. I thought about my day and smiled. I knew tomorrow would be another simple day, but that was fine. Sometimes a calm life is the best life. As I drifted off to sleep, I felt thankful. Thankful for the food I ate. Thankful for the walk I enjoyed. Thankful for the friend I talked to. And thankful for the small lessons of the day. And I also felt thankful for you, my listener, because by sharing my story with you, I felt even more connected. So, my dear friends, remember this. You do not need to wait for big events to feel happy. You do not need a perfect life to feel peaceful. Look at the small things around you, enjoy them, and be thankful. Every little step you take, every word you learn, every moment you live, it all matters. You are growing, even if you do not notice it right away. And that was my day. Nothing too special, but still full of meaning. Thank you for listening with me. You do not need to remember every word. You do not need to understand everything. Just being here, just practicing is enough. Step by step, you are improving. And I will be here again with you, sharing more stories, speaking slowly and simply, like a friend beside you. Until next time, take care of yourself, drink something warm, rest when you need to, and remember that you are doing better than you think. Goodbye for now, and see you again soon.